Unallowed materials and mitigation before planting. In this video, we will review some of the different soil amendments and crop inputs that the LGMA metrics do not allow to be used for leafy greens production because they may represent a higher risk of contamination with human pathogens. We will also review what mitigation strategies a farm may take before planting on a field that has had these unallowed materials applied to it. The primary unallowed materials that cannot be used as soil amendments, crop inputs, or as ingredients for soil amendments and crop inputs are raw manure, untreated animal products or byproducts, not fully composted green waste, and biosolids. Never apply soil amendments or crop inputs that contain any of these items as ingredients to fields that will be used for leafy greens production or to existing leafy greens crops. By application, the metric means that these products must not have contact with leafy greens or leafy greens fields, whether it is through the intentional use of an unallowed soil amendment or crop input, the use of animals for field management of weeds and crop residue, or the unintentional application due to drift from an adjacent area. If any of these materials are applied to a crop, the crop cannot be harvested and sold for human consumption to the fresh produce market. And if any of these materials are intentionally or accidentally applied to a field, you will have to wait 1 year before you can start producing leafy greens on that field, or 38 months if Class B biosolids are applied. Time interval and mitigations before planting can commence following the application of unallowed materials. Even though 1 year is the standard required waiting period for an adequate reduction of pathogens of concern, the type and amount of soil amendment or crop input applied to the field can impact the persistence of pathogens on the soil, which may change the minimum time required before replanting. Because of this, it is always recommended to do a risk assessment before replanting the field. In addition, certain environmental conditions, such as heavy rain, long periods of rain, or high moisture and humidity, can also help these pathogens persist in the field for longer periods of time, or even cause them to regrow in number after being non-detectable in previous analysis. Nonetheless, in some cases, it may be deemed acceptable through a proper risk assessment that appropriate soil testing can be used to shorten the period between application and planting to no less than 270 days. To do this, suitable representative samples need to be collected, and testing must be performed in a manner that accurately represents the entire production field suspected to have been exposed to the unallowed soil amendments or crop inputs. Test results must then show that microorganism levels in the soil meet the recommended standard for processed compost. Additional guidance on soil sampling techniques can be found in the Soil Screening Guidance, Technical Background Document, US EPA 1996, and the LGMA's soil sampling requirements for flooded fields. Biosolids. Biosolids can be divided into two types, and each of these has different mitigation requirements before planting can commence following their application on a field. According to the metrics document, Class A biosolids undergo a process to further reduce pathogens, or PFRP. Pathogens are reduced to a level similar to the native soil and environment. Class B biosolids undergo a process to significantly reduce pathogens, PSRP. This means that while pathogens are significantly reduced to levels which are often below those found in animal manure, management practices, or BMPs, are required at the site where they are used. Class A biosolids. The time interval requirement before planting can commence following the application of Class A biosolids is the same as for other unallowed soil amendments, so you may use the 1 calendar year guidance. Class B biosolids. Class B biosolids, on the other hand, represent a higher risk of pathogen contamination, and thus the field cannot be replanted for a minimum of 38 months after the use of Class B biosolids has been discontinued, and soil testing must be conducted and demonstrate that the soil meets the microbiological standards for compost. This is the end of our video on unallowed materials and mitigation before planting, developed by Food Safety CTS for California LGMA.